So how early did you get up this morning to be in studio with me today?
3 a.m.
3 a.m. You
Yes.
always win the Trooper Award. You are like the Navy SEAL of the office. You do whatever it takes, and you have the discipline to do it. But I'm excited to have you, Angie. Angie is one of my agents here in the White Mountains now, is where you are home. And I'm excited to learn how long that's been home and all that. But how about, before we dive into too much here, take me back before real estate. And tell me about Angie.
Goodness. Well, I grew up in Tucson and also spent time in Lake Havasu City, and that's where I ended up graduating high school there.
Really?
Yeah. So,
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. Actually went to school with Marta Baxter.
Oh, wow.
We figured it out when we were in Cabo.
She's there? Okay.
She was there. Yeah. She was,
and I'll be there
I
next
graduated
week.
about a year ahead of her. Yep. And so anyway, I was there and got married and moved back to Tucson. And I'm one of the rare agents that actually real estate's my first career.
Interesting.
And my entire, probably the first 25 years of my career, people always ask me, what are you going to do when you grow up? What are you going to do when you grow up? And it was like, I don't know. I asked myself that this morning. What am I going to do when I grow up? So it's all I've ever done, really.
Interesting. What do you think it was? I have a couple of questions. I had a couple of questions about Lake Havasu, but I'm not going to go there. But I'm curious, what do you think it was that originally attracted you to real estate?
I was not attracted to real estate. It picked me.
Okay, tell me more about that.
I came into the business kicking and screaming. I wanted nothing to do with it. I started out as a receptionist for a brokerage / construction company.
Okay.
It was a husband and wife team. I was their receptionist. Within 6 months, the broker made me her personal assistant. Okay. And within 6 months of that, she said, you are going to real estate school and getting your license so I don't lose mine. And it was because they had sales sites for the construction end, and all their agents ended up getting the flu, and they sent me out there as a hostess. And in 1 week, I procured $1.7 million in real estate when the average sales price was $93,000.
Holy smokes.
And so,
in Tucson?
In Tucson.
Okay.
And so she insisted I get my license so she didn't lose hers. I was 6 months pregnant. And so I went to real estate school.
You accidentally were just a superstar at something.
It came natural. And she'd even sat down. One of the buyers was a big VP for a huge company in Tucson who had been looking at their products for 2 years and never pulled the trigger until I was out there. And she sat him down and said, why her? You've worked with every other agent in our company. Why her? And he said, because she listened to what I wanted. And so that was a lesson for me because I really had no idea what I did.
Yeah.
But it was, I listened to what they wanted and I went and found it.
So what, if you were naturally so talented at this, I mean, a 1.7 million, 93,000 sale price in a week, like kind of by accident, not knowing what you didn't know, what made you so resistant about getting into that part of the business?
I was a young mom. And so I had, at that time, I was pregnant with my second child. My oldest boy was 4.5. And I just never saw myself in that position. And I saw the helter-skelter of deals falling apart because I was always on the back end through administration of seeing what it took to hold these deals together and working on the weekends and doing all of those things. Yeah. So I think that was why I was resistant. Back then, they used pagers, and we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have email even at that time. It was literally all snail mail. Yep. They were just starting with fax machines, and those weren't even considered legal signatures. You had to have a hard copy. Okay. So I've seen lots of changes. They had the MLS book that came in every 2 weeks, that everybody had to share and make photocopies of, and that's how I started it.
Back when the broker
owned all the information. It was a different business back then.
Well, I think that's an interesting perspective, and it's why I asked the question, because I see a lot of times expecting moms or moms of young kids who actually come to me and say they're getting into the business because they want some flexibility and they have young children and everything. But you already had some insights that that's all fine and well if that's your goal, but you've seen the helter skelter, as you put it, part of the business and we're like kind of, I don't know if I want that as a young mom.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah, it was crazy too. And even then my broker sat me down and said, hey, this is, going to be a tough decision for you to make, even though I'm insisting that you do it, because you have to understand that it can take a toll on your marriage. There's a lot of things that need to go into the thoughts of it. And so sitting down and having that conversation with my husband at that time, and we did end up getting divorced because it was not what he wanted in the end anyway. But it still all worked out for the best anyway. Yeah. And so it's a different world. But I learned that by hard work, you can determine what you're going to earn, and it did give me flexibility to always be there for my kids when they all played sports and, going on tournament trips and things like that.
How many do you have?
I have 3.
3 now.
Yeah. And my oldest is 37 now. He was 3 when I started. Yeah. So, but it gave me that flexibility that I could even give myself a raise when they needed that $200 pair of Nike basketball shoes. And it was like, okay, I got to go get another deal.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in a traditional 40-hour-a-week job.
Yeah.
And I got tired of being away from my family 50, 60 hours a week and spending a lot of it on the road. So I had a lot more flexibility. And so it was a give and take. And I was willing to deal with that.
Where did you get your work ethic from?
My dad. My dad had 4 girls. I'm the oldest of 4 girls. And and he always said you can do whatever you put your mind to, but you don't quit. You see it through, and then you can change your mind and go do something else once you've seen it all the way through. And so it was just expected of us. My sister was a huge in the military for 37 years, retired as a lieutenant colonel. Wow. So we were all very disciplined, just because that was the way we were raised.
Yeah. What does it mean to see something through and not quit? And it may seem like a kind of off the wall question, but when I heard you say that, I ask because the last 2 years has produced a lot of people who have given up, gotten out, not just I think our mind immediately goes to like new agents, and we always like to pick on new agents, but like we have extremely successful agents in the market who have really, if they haven't let their license go, they've just taken a huge step back and just go, I think I'm done with this business. And I'm just curious, like how you think about seeing something through and not quitting.
Yeah, well, I look at the positive impact that I've had on clients' lives. So I know that I'm doing something good for our community, for people that ultimately end up becoming good friends of mine. And, through the referral process. And I don't want to disappoint people and not be there for them when they've counted on me. I brought them, through, and there's going to be a time again that they're going to need my services. And so I want to be there for them. There's always that one deal every year. To me, there's always one deal of why am I still doing this? But equally,
throw your hands up deal.
Why am I even doing this? But equally, there's always been one of those deals each year that remind me why I'm here, why I do what I do. Kind of my motto, my brand is the agent that will do things that other agents won't do. And get in there and get your hands dirty and do what you need to do to provide the service to your clients. And that brings satisfaction when people really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
I love the word they use, impact,
yeah.
Right? And I think if you can slow down enough to recognize the impact that you've had, not just on the client's life, but the other people involved in the transaction and the community and everything, we have such a unique business where we activate the economy of our local, towns or cities in ways that other businesses don't necessarily do. You think about all of the businesses it takes to bring a client across the finish line of getting into a home, and you are making impact. And so yeah, anything worth doing is going to be difficult. And you're going to have those throw your hands up moments.
Yeah.
But there wouldn't be a quality reward without that type of stuff, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
how long did you stay at the construction company and doing real estate with them?
5 years.
Okay.
And I had decided that I would stay there. It was a tumultuous environment many times when you're working with a husband and wife team. and I decided that I would stay there as long as I continued to learn. And I finally got to a point where I was stagnant. I was actually trying to have my third child and was stressed out all the time. And so I decided it was time to take a step back. That's when I got pregnant with my daughter. So I stepped back. And right after I had her, I decided to go out to a big brokerage in Tucson.
Okay.
And it was different being out there by myself. And I remember even the managing broker there didn't tell me until like 2 years later that he didn't expect me to succeed, because it was very rare for somebody who started out as an admin assistant to succeed in the business. And I'm like, well, thank goodness you never told me that, because I would have had that, in my ears, but I'd also be the person to say, I'm going to prove you wrong. Luckily, I did it on my own anyway. And I think it actually served me really well, because I understood the business from the back end before I was doing it on the front end. And I think it made it a much smoother transition into the business and being able to handle it at a higher level than most would have been able to.
I think you're right. Like from my experience, the people who start on that side of the business actually do have a set of tools in their toolbox that a lot of other agents that go sales first don't. And I think that's important. You're now the queen of the White Mountains, if you will. I think I gave you that nickname. You're up in Pine Top. So how'd you get up there, and when was that?
Wow. So in 2016, I got remarried. My husband David had gotten
It's a good name, by the way.
Yeah, it sure is. He got a job offer in the Bay Area, and he really wanted me to go. And he knew it was a big ask, because I'm leaving my business. And it's like, but it was going to be temporary, a couple of years, that kind of thing. So we went, and I actually joined a Keller Williams just outside of San Francisco.
Okay.
And instead of getting into sales, knowing that I was only going to be there temporarily, I actually built out their coaching program, their productivity coaching program. I taught for 2 real estate schools. I started teaching for one of the real estate schools, and I wasn't even licensed in California yet, which I found fascinating.
Especially in California,
yeah, exactly.
Of all places. I'm surprised.
Exactly. But it was a completely other side of the business, and I loved it. I ended up even being an assistant team leader for about 7 months.
Wow.
And then, and I was struggling because I was away from my family. And I finally had to come to terms with bloom where you're planted. And that really turned it around for me to realize, again, the impact I was able to have on the agents in the coaching program and the agents in the office. And as difficult as it was to begin with, it was actually a really highlight of my career, of the tools that it gave me and the blessings it gave me. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, we're going home. And my husband said, you put up with a lot. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? And I had always wanted to move my business to Pine Top. And I always thought it was going to be, I'll do deals here in the summer and then live in Tucson in the winter. And here I saw an opportunity. I kind of have to reinvent myself anyway, because I've been gone from Arizona for a couple of years. So I said, and we already owned a home there. And so I said, I want to move my business to Pine Top.
Wow. And
so it was quite an ordeal, in the sense that, having been in the business for 25 years at that time, I started brand new. The only person I knew in the mountains was the agent that represented me on the home that we bought there. The only person I knew.
So you did start completely.
I did.
From
I started
scratch.
completely over, and it can be fascinating in the sense that you can see what the newer agents are going through. And I was tied to it, having been a coach. But it's different when it's yourself.
Yeah.
Different when it's yourself. And so to me, small mountain town, a lot of the agents are very local and they don't have the connection with bigger brokerages and the opportunities for learning and education that Keller Williams had to offer and everything. And so I really felt like I was bringing something to the community at a level that the mountain's never seen before. That was my goal. That was my goal.
What did you do strategically to grow when you had to start over?
I wanted to make sure that I had a really strong database of all of the agents that I had worked with over the years, and even the ones that I hadn't worked with. I had hired a virtual assistant even when I was in California to help build out a database for me of all the different brokerages in Phoenix, and started even in Tucson, and then even started into Phoenix. So by the time I got back to the mountains, I had a database of 5,000 agents. And that's where I knew that instead of me looking for the onesie twosies of buyers here and there to get into business, I was going to contact all of these agents who have huge databases that could find one or two each of 8 people in their database that might want to buy or sell in the White Mountains. And that's really been the cornerstone of my business there, is referral.
Agent to agent referrals, building a database of agents that can send their business to you.
Yep.
And so leveraging, so a lot of your prospecting activity, even to this day, revolves around
agent.
Very interesting. If I were an agent listening to this and I've not actually leveraged that as something, give me a step-by-step. Like what would I do to grow agent to agent referral? I think you already hinted at it a little bit, but bring me a little bit more into it.
Yeah. So the biggest conversation that I have with them is who is your go-to agent in the White Mountains? And 9 out of 10 times they have nobody. And great, I'm going to be that person for you. Tell me about your business. And then I figure out and help them with ways of when they're talking to their database. And if they're not looking at doing any business in Tucson or Phoenix at that time, well, hey, have you ever been to the White Mountains? And, are you interested in buying or purchasing there? Many times they actually do.
Yeah.
They actually do. And so quarterly, I would send out a flyer to all the agents, and it was the same one every time, so they recognized it. I would just have different properties on there that I had listed. And every single time I would pick up a referral from it. And over time, then the agents started talking to each other in the office, and they'd say, "Who do you know?" And so I'd get a referral from a referral, because then another agent would be referring them to me. And then social media really helped that a lot. And there's, with all of the different agent groups and everything, I feel very blessed that every time somebody throws out, I'm looking for an agent for Pine Top, or I'm looking for an agent for Shiloh, my name always shows up there.
That's great.
And I have some ways that I handle that pretty much ensures I'm the one that gets the lead.
What it sounds like to me is that there's an intentional communication process. And we sometimes, I think, forget that referral is such a powerful part of this business. There's not many industries out there where you can literally just on referral make a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah. Well,
right?
it's at least 67% of my business.
And you think about that for the agents that you're making an impact on, right? That can be a significant part of their business if they actually intentionally tend to it. And so I think a lot of agents forget to communicate in a way that asks their database, where else are you placing your money and moving your monopoly pieces, so to speak, around? And does that involve the White Mountains? Does it involve Flagstaff, Sedona, right? Or if you're from a different state, we all have these markets, these secondary and tertiary markets that your database wants to transact in. And sometimes you're just missing out on that because you're not taking the intentional communication steps.
Yep.
I want to ask you, what are you most proud of in your real estate business, in your real estate career?
I'm most proud of the relationships that I have built, of being able to pay it forward and to coach and train people in the business and then watch them grow into very successful people, and to be able to show them how to live an abundant life through their business of real estate. And to have that, as much as you can, work-life balance, and to the things that I've learned that were just, it was like, it was, your brain just moves of, most people, they go to work, they earn a paycheck, and they build their life around how much money they make. And it was like this huge aha to me when I took Master Sales Track Society at that many, many decades ago. But it was, no, you determine the life you want and you build your business around it to create the income to have that life. And how many other industries are in the world? And to be able to teach people that through the business to have the life they want and actually seeing it play out is, to me, has just been fascinating. I mean, even today we're onboarding my assistant, who I've had as a partner for the last 2.5 years, who's now moved back to the Valley and is starting her own big business here on her own. And my heart breaks because I'm losing a dear partner, but at the same time, everything I poured into her, now other people here in the Valley are going to benefit from that.
Well, it's one of the reasons why you're on my ALC. This is a perfect example of leadership. And I've probably never brought you through my R's of leadership, but I always tell anyone that I'm training on leadership, our responsibility as a leader is to reach our people with a vision, right? A message, which you've done with this individual, to ready them, train them, get them up to speed in what they need to know. And then we kind of hit a fork in the road once they're ready. With every person that comes into our world, talented, you need to be ready to retain them or release them. Mm-hmm. And I park there a lot when I talk about leadership, because I think sometimes leaders' downfall is not letting go. Because if we're doing our jobs, we're going to multiply leaders like ourselves, right? And what you just described, I bring that up because it's a perfect example of, you could tell her all the reasons why, she shouldn't do this, or why she should stay, and hold her back and all this thing. Or you can take the abundant mindset, which is a word that you've used as well. And you can say, no, look at what I can help you access from here on, and release her into her next opportunity.
Yeah. And I get the greatest joy. It's kind of interesting because since I was 13 years old, I wanted to be a school teacher. And like I said, real estate picked me. And so I thought that dream had really always gone away. And it was probably 10 years ago that I had a MAPS coach that said, look at what you're doing. You really are a teacher. And I'm like, wow, it just wasn't in the setting that I thought that it would be. And
wasn't with a chalkboard.
Yeah, chalkboard and a ruler and all of that. I was teaching for 2 real estate schools. I was a, productivity coach, and then building my own team in the White Mountains of all the people that are coming through. They're all going out and doing big businesses after the fact. And that is kind of like the mama bear that's really proud of her cubs, going out to do those things. And now I've brought in my daughter-in-law, and she's going to real estate school, and now have the opportunity to create that legacy of turning my business over to my family. And that never, ever entered my mind in 36 years. I never thought that was ever going to be a possibility. So always being aware of the opportunities to pivot. You can have a plan, but always be flexible, because better things can happen if you just keep that flexibility about where you're going.
Success is never without obstacles.
True.
What's the biggest obstacle you've ever faced, Angie?
Oh, goodness. I don't know, I guess because as they come and they go. When I was a child, I was burned in a fire that I wasn't supposed to survive. And
Wow.
so living through that, realizing that I was still here, so I must still have a purpose. And I searched for that purpose for a really long time. And I mean, I've made mistakes in my life and kind of hit rock bottom and have to reinvent myself, and coming back from all of those things. So I think just the obstacles are learning how to pivot, forgive yourself, give grace, and keep moving forward. There isn't anything you can't fix.
That's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
What do you aspire to next?
I'm in that pivot moment right now. So I think it's actually being able to build this legacy with my daughter-in-law and creating this opportunity for her to move my business forward, even when I decide to step out. And I really want to stay in the arena of coaching and training and building up the opportunity for Keller Williams at a much larger level in the White Mountains. So that we have that level of professionalism there, but just the coaching and building people up, that's what I aspire to. That's my happy place. That fills me up.
And I'm glad it does, because we've got a big opportunity up there.
Absolutely.
Don't we? And there's so much business that happens up there. There's so many lives to impact. And when we have people like you that can actually train and mentor and support, I mean, it would be shameful if we left that on the table. What do you see for 2026 just in the market in general?
Well, I'm an optimist by nature, and I always
like that caveat.
because I was optimistic about 25 as well, at least the second half of 25.
We need you in the room.
And, I wake up and tomorrow's always another day and another opportunity for things to get a little bit better. But I always I think the opportunities are there. I mean, again, it comes down to educating and helping clients be able to navigate where we are. And to know that I have the ability to do that, because people are still going to have to move. People are going to still have to buy or sell. And they all have things happening in their worlds that make change inevitable, even if it's not the right time. So being, I would like to say it can't be worse than it was for 2025. But when you've been doing this for 36 years, there's been a lot of ups and downs, and we've gotten through all of them, and just keep looking for the opportunities to grow personally, to grow the business, to enhance all of our clients, and get them through the difficult times. And I feel like that's success.
If you had 24 hours to procure a deal, what would you do?
Get on the phone. Just get on the phone and call my clients. Who do you know? Get on the phone with the agents. Who do you know? How can I help you? We've done open houses. We've done all of those things, but face to face. I mean, I'm not, I'll go sit and talk to all of the different businesses in my area, and I've got a coffee shop right next to my office. I'll go sit over there.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So I'm a roll my sleeves up kind of gal, and we'll get out there and do what I need to do. But generally, it's just go through the database and make some phone calls. And I know there's a lot of people that are just afraid to do that, but with practice and being authentic when you're talking to people, it's not work. You just develop those relationships with them.
So it is simple, not easy per se, but it is simple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm going to ask a bit of a vulnerable question. It's kind of vulnerable for me to ask this. So I hope you don't mind, but why are you in business with us?
Oh, goodness. I was with big brokerages. I was with mom and pop brokerages, and it wasn't until 2014, late 14, that I had the opportunity to join Keller Williams. Keller Williams really wasn't around when I started in the business in Tucson. And then I had a gal who I actually mentored her first year in real estate back in 1997. And she made Rookie of the Year, and actually went on to become a broker for KW at one point. But she had gone to KW and then she had been trying for quite a while, but convinced me to join her team.
Hmm.
And it was kind of strange going from being a solo agent and somebody that I mentored that now I'm joining her team. So that was vulnerable. Okay, that was really vulnerable. But I just finished a 5-year project on a condo conversion and I needed something new. So it worked out timing wise perfect. And so that first 6 months that I was with Keller Williams, my mind was so blown of thinking bigger than I had ever thought before. It changed my world. And knowing the power that having an open mind, and when somebody gives you the permission to think that big and then actually support you to make those dreams happen. I wished Keller Williams had been there in the very beginning. And so that's why it's family. To me, it's family. I've seen the cutthroatness of other brokerages, the minimal position of what's available. You know, I love the abundance and everybody being here to help themselves. It's a culture thing for me that I have to align myself with. And it has taught me to be able to create that culture within my own teams and setting standards, and that it just doesn't exist anywhere else. So anytime I've wanted to grow or do something new, I've always had the support. And, you know, a lot of times you don't even get that in your own family. So this is family, and that's why I stay. That's why I'm here. I love it.
So for you, it's about accessing growth and opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes I've had people within the company that saw something in me and saw an opportunity for me to step in and help. Like when I was doing the PC coaching and being an assistant team leader, those were never on my radar, ever. And yet I grew from those opportunities. I had impact on the people that were involved in that. So I'm always just one more opportunity away. I had to learn to control the jumping to shiny objects things, because that was a big thing in my life. I was always jumping to the next shiny object. And Keller Williams taught me the discipline of the one thing. So that to help my business grow. And so I wouldn't have been able to do that without that education.
Yeah. Well, I want to transition us to the last segment of my show. It's 3, 2, 1 action. Same 3 questions basically that I've asked every guest since I started our podcast. You ready?
I'm ready.
Is the seat getting hotter?
Air conditioner just went off.
Yeah,
so we're good.
True. That's true. The first question is, what book has been most impactful on you and why?
Oh, goodness. Recently, and it's more personal, is Love and Respect.
That's a great book. I've actually read that.
It's had a huge impact on my life, my marriage, and a bunch of people in my world that have been impacted by it. And it was just someone in the last 6 months that's been huge. Huge.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The second thing I want to ask you is who has been most impactful on your business and why? But I've kind of put a spin on it the last year or so, and I want you to thank that person while you tell me.
Goodness. Well, there's 2, and they're kind of connected.
Okay.
And so I'd like to say thank you to Kristen Cole and Shayna Ackles. It started with Kristen before I had even, I guess I was with Keller Williams, but I didn't really know who she was. She was here. I was in Tucson, really didn't know. This was back in 2015. I had attended her Recruit Select class. Yeah. Cody Gibson was there. And matter of fact, I think it was here. And then a few months after that, her one on expansion. And so she scared the heck out of me. And, but I was like, I felt so connected in a sense of, wow, here's a woman who is willing to go after what she wants and unapologetically and have a plan. And that was the biggest thing, is having a plan to do that. And then so over the years, I've watched her, and then fortunately the last couple of years I've actually been in her world, and every single day she makes an impact. And because of that connection with her, Shayna Ackles, who's been my coach for the last year and a half, 2 years, has helped me leaps and bounds. I've had the different coaches of, well, what do you think about this? And, all of these things, where she's actually been a consultant and really walking me through the processes. And that has helped me grow leaps and bounds within 6 months of what would have taken 10 years with somebody else. So those two people combined, and Shayna wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for Kristen. And the two of them have just helped me immensely. So thank you both.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And obviously, I don't get to work with Shayna as much, or have had as much exposure to her as you have. But I know she's a tremendous coach.
Yes.
And Kristen, I obviously get to see and work with and watch every single day. And if you met her in 2015, it's pretty spectacular. We're sitting here now with a whole family of real estate service businesses, brokerages, and insurance companies, and title companies, all these different things. And that woman wakes up, and she's taught me to wake up going, every day, who are we going to impact, and how are we going to impact them?
Absolutely.
And so it fits right in line with who you are too. So I see why there's an affinity there. So the last question is, I want you to talk to the agent out there. Maybe they're struggling. They've made it through 25, but they're going to keep on, right? What is the one thing that you would challenge them to go all in on this year in order to have a successful real estate business?
That one's an easy one for me because unfortunately, especially since COVID, I really don't see it. But I would encourage every agent to really lean into the market center. Be present. We've gotten to a point in our society where nobody wants to talk to anybody anymore. And for me, coming from, over 30 years of experience, my most impactful time early in my career, or when I just needed that boost, was the bullpen time. Being here with other agents who might be going through the same thing. And yet the rest of the office is sprinkled with seasoned agents. And they're there to support you. Ask a question. They're all there to help. And we don't know that you're there or you're struggling if you're not here. And we can't help you. If you're sitting in an office at home or a bedroom at home or, whatever, we don't see you, so we can't help you. And sometimes you don't even know what the question is. But being present and listening to everybody else talking, the golden nuggets that you pick up is going to help motivate you to keep moving, and the opportunities are endless. You just have to be present.
Angie, I so appreciate the answer to that. And in like 175 episodes, I don't think anyone's ever given me that answer. And yet the presence is something that I think is so crucial. Yeah. Just getting around other successful people, it is scientifically proven, brings your level of success up. Yeah. And in an age where, cloud-based brokerage is all the rage and teams are sequestered into their own teams, I think your message there, the word is collaboration and presence. And I think you're right in that if someone wants to succeed, they should be present. And let me remind everyone that this is coming from someone who woke up at 3 a.m. And why did you wake up at 3 a.m.? For all those listeners who don't know Arizona, it's because you're 3.5 hours away.
Driving in the dark and almost hit 3 elk on the way down, but so slow down, didn't get here as quick as I wanted because they were out there dancing in the road.
But you are not just someone who just makes a statement like that. You're someone who models that. Yeah. As a leader in our brokerage, you model presence. You make big commitments yourself. And so you hold yourself to that same standard that we are trying to impress and instill in all of our agents. If Angie is the type of agent who can wake up and drive and be present and involved, what's holding you back, agent? Exactly. There's no excuse. Mm-hmm. So people are going to want to know where to find you, how to get in touch with you. They probably have referrals for Pine Top and Show Low.
Yeah.
So what's the easiest way to get connected with you, Angie?
Well, my cell phone number is 928-368-3863, and it's pinetoppropertiesgroup@gmail.com. And I'm always there available to take your call, and would love to do business with you and help you with your database, messaging, and anything I can do to help.
That's awesome. We'll link all that up in the show notes. And so from Keller Williams, Arizona, the Access Network, Real Talk with David, and Pine Top Property Groups. Thank you for being here, Angie.
Thank you.
And like I like to tell you guys all the time, go play all in.